Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, I envy you. This phrase is something you'll hear all the time in casual conversations. When someone says, I envy you, it means they wish they had what you have or could do what you're doing. It's like saying, I'm jealous of you, but in a lighter, more friendly way. You use this when you admire someone's situation or good luck. Let me tell you a story about when I heard this recently. My friend Sarah just got back from a 2-week vacation in Hawaii. She was showing me all her beautiful beach photos, and I couldn't help but say, "Oh my gosh, I envy you so much. I haven't had a real vacation in months." It's a natural way to express that you wish you were in their shoes. For example, if your friend tells you they got promoted at work, you might say, "Wow, I envy you. That sounds like an amazing opportunity." Here's another one. My sister just bought her dream house, and honestly, I envy her so much right now. Let's take this one. If someone mentions they're sleeping in tomorrow because they don't have work, you could respond with, "Ugh, I envy you. I have to be up at 6. The great thing about this phrase is that it shows you're happy for someone while also expressing your own wishes in a gentle way. Have you ever felt envious of a friend's good news? Let me know in the comments how you'd use this expression. Number 2, I'm all ears. This idiom is so useful, and you'll definitely want to add it to your vocabulary. When someone says, I'm all ears, they mean they're ready to listen completely and carefully. It's like saying, I'm listening, or tell me everything, but it sounds much more natural and enthusiastic. I love this expression because it shows you're genuinely interested in what someone has to say. Just last week, my neighbor looked stressed when I saw her outside. I asked if everything was okay, and she seemed hesitant to talk. So I said, "Hey, if you need to talk about anything, I'm all ears." She ended up telling me about some family issues, and I was glad I could be there for her. You might hear something like, I heard you had an interesting day at work. I'm all ears, people often say. Go ahead and tell me what happened. I'm all ears. Here's another one. You said you had big news to share. Well, I'm all ears. This idiom comes from the idea that when you're really listening, it's like your ears are the most important part of your body at that moment. It's a warm, encouraging way to invite someone to share with you. Do you think you could use this expression when a friend needs to talk? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Number 3, crisis averted. This phrase is perfect for those moments when something bad almost happened, but you managed to avoid it just in time. Crisis averted means you successfully prevented a problem or disaster. It's often said with relief, like when you dodge a bullet or save the day at the last minute. Here's a funny story from my own life. Last month, I was rushing to catch a flight, and I realized I couldn't find my passport anywhere. I was panicking, tearing my apartment apart, thinking I'd have to cancel my trip. Then, 5 minutes before I absolutely had to leave for the airport, I found it in my jacket pocket from the last time I traveled. I literally said out loud, "Crisis averted," as I grabbed my bags and ran out the door. For example, imagine your friend was supposed to bring dessert to a dinner party, but completely forgot until an hour before. Then she remembers there's a bakery still open nearby. She might text you, "Found a bakery that's still open. Crisis averted." You might hear something like, "I thought I deleted my entire project, but I found a backup file." Crisis averted. Let's take this one. The restaurant said they were fully booked, but someone just canceled their reservation. Crisis averted. This phrase is great because it captures that feeling of relief when disaster is avoided. It's casual but also a bit dramatic in a fun way. Have you ever had a moment where you could say crisis averted? Share your story in the comments. Number 4, get in line. Now this expression has two different meanings, and both are super common in everyday English. The literal meaning is simply stand in line or join the queue. But there's also a figurative meaning that's much more interesting. When someone says get in line in a sarcastic or firm way, they mean wait your turn like everyone else, or you're not special. Let me share a story about the second meaning. I was at a coffee shop last weekend, and this guy tried to cut in front of everyone who was waiting. The barista looked at him and said, "Excuse me, sir, you need to get in line like everyone else." It was her polite but firm way of saying he wasn't going to get special treatment. For example, if someone complains about waiting for customer service, their friend might say, "Welcome to the club, get in line with the rest of us." People often say, "Everyone wants tickets to that concert. You'll have to get in line just like everybody else." Here's another one. "I know you're excited about the new restaurant, but get in line. There are 50 people ahead of you." The expression works for both physical lines and metaphorical ones. You could be talking about actually standing in line at a store or waiting your turn for an opportunity. It's a really versatile phrase that native speakers use constantly. Which meaning do you think you'd use more often? Let me know in the comments. Number 5, I'll give it a shot. This phrase is one of my absolute favorites because it's so encouraging and positive. When someone says, "I'll give it a shot," they mean I'll try it or I'll attempt it. It suggests you're willing to try something even if you're not sure you'll succeed. It shows a good attitude about taking on challenges. I remember when my friend asked me to help her move last month. I'm not exactly the strongest person, and I told her I'd never moved furniture before. But you know what I said? "I've never done this before, but I'll give it a shot." It turned out okay, and we got everything moved without any major disasters. You might hear something like, "I've never made lasagna before, but I'll give it a shot for dinner tonight." Imagine this. Your boss asks if you can handle a new project that's outside your usual responsibilities. You could respond, "It sounds challenging, but I'll give it a shot." People often say, "I'm not great at dancing, but if you want to go to that dance class, I'll give it a shot." What I love about this expression is that it shows you're open to new experiences and not afraid of possibly failing. It's much more natural than saying, "I will try," because it has personality and shows your willingness to take risks. Have you ever used this phrase when someone asked you to do something new? Tell me about it in the comments. Number 6. Don't rush me. This expression is something you'll definitely need to know because everyone feels rushed sometimes. When someone says, "Don't rush me," they mean, "Don't pressure me to go faster," or "Let me take my time." It's usually said when someone is being hurried and they want to work at their own pace. Here's a perfect example from my life. My mom always gets anxious when we're getting ready to go somewhere, and she starts saying things like, "Come on, we need to leave," or "Hurry up." Last week, I was getting dressed for a family dinner, and she kept checking her watch and telling me to move faster. Finally, I had to say, "Mom, don't rush me. I'll be ready in 5 minutes." She laughed and gave me some space to finish getting ready. For example, if you're at a restaurant and the waiter keeps asking if you're ready to order, you might say, "We need a few more minutes. Don't rush me, please." Let's take this one. Imagine you're taking a test and someone keeps looking at their watch impatiently. You could whisper, "Don't rush me. I need to think about this question." You might hear something like, "I know the deadline is tomorrow, but don't rush me. I want to make sure this is perfect." This phrase is great because it's direct but not rude. It helps you set boundaries when people are pressuring you to move faster than you're comfortable with. Do you ever feel like people are rushing you? How would you use this expression? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 7. It's written all over your face. This idiom is so visual and fun to use. When someone says, "It's written all over your face," they mean your facial expression is showing exactly what you're thinking or feeling, even if you haven't said anything out loud. Basically, your face is giving away your emotions or thoughts. I have to tell you about what happened with my little nephew last week. His mom asked him if he ate the cookies she was saving for dessert, and he said, "No." But he had chocolate all around his mouth and this guilty look in his eyes. I started laughing and said, "Buddy, you don't need to lie. It's written all over your face that you ate those cookies." He started giggling and admitted he'd eaten 3 of them. You might hear something like, "You say you're not nervous about the job interview, but it's written all over your face." For example, if your friend claims they don't have a crush on someone, but they light up every time that person walks by, you could say, "Come on, you like them. It's written all over your face." People often say, "I knew you were disappointed about the canceled plans. It was written all over your face." This expression is wonderful because it acknowledges that our faces often tell the truth even when our words don't. We're not always great at hiding our emotions, and sometimes that's perfectly okay. Have you ever been in a situation where someone could read your emotions just by looking at you? Let me know in the comments which emotions you think are hardest to hide. Number 8. You can say that again. This phrase is a really enthusiastic way to agree with someone. When you say, "You can say that again," you mean, "I completely agree," or "That's absolutely true." It's like saying "yes," but with more emphasis and energy. People use it when they strongly agree with what someone just said. Let me tell you about a conversation I had with my coworker yesterday. We were talking about how expensive everything has gotten lately, and she said, "Groceries cost so much more than they used to." I immediately responded, "You can say that again. I spent twice as much on the same items I bought last year." It was my way of showing I totally agreed with her frustration. For example, if someone complains, "This traffic is absolutely terrible today," you might respond, "You can say that again. I've been sitting here for 20 minutes." Here's another one. Imagine your friend says, "That movie was incredible," and you loved it too. You could say, "You can say that again. Best film I've seen all year." Let's take this one. "This weather is perfect for a picnic." You can say that again. "We couldn't have asked for a better day." What makes this expression special is that it shows you're not just agreeing, you're enthusiastically agreeing. It adds energy and emotion to your response. It's much more interesting than just saying yes or I agree. Do you think you'll remember to use this phrase when you strongly agree with someone? Which topics do you find yourself agreeing about most often? Tell me in the comments. Number 9, I know how to get there. This expression might seem simple, but it's incredibly useful in everyday conversations. I know how to get there means you're familiar with the directions to a specific place. It's what you say when someone is worried about finding a location and you want to reassure them that you can guide them or that you won't get lost. Here's a story that happened just last weekend. My friend invited me to a birthday party at a restaurant I'd never been to before. She started giving me complicated directions and seemed worried I wouldn't be able to find it. I stopped her and said, "Don't worry, I looked it up on my GPS app earlier. I know how to get there." It put her mind at ease, and I arrived right on time without any problems. You might hear something like, "Should I send you the address for the wedding venue?" "No need, I know how to get there. I drove past it yesterday." People often say, "I'm terrible with directions, but luckily my husband knows how to get there." For example, if you're planning to meet friends at a new cafe, you might text them, "Don't worry about directions, I know how to get there. I'll lead the way." This phrase is great because it shows confidence and helpfulness. It reassures other people and takes some stress out of planning trips or meetings. In our world of GPS and smartphones, we don't get lost as often as we used to, but people still appreciate when someone knows the way. Have you ever been the person who knew how to get somewhere when others were confused? Share your navigation stories in the comments. Number 10, looks good on you. This phrase is such a nice compliment to give someone, and you'll hear it all the time in casual situations. When you say, "looks good on you," you mean that something, usually clothing or an accessory, is flattering or attractive on that person. It's a simple way to make someone feel good about their appearance. I remember shopping with my sister a few months ago. She was trying on this bright red dress and felt unsure about the color because she usually wears darker clothes. When she came out of the dressing room, I immediately said, "Oh wow, that looks really good on you. The color brings out your eyes." She ended up buying the dress and has gotten so many compliments on it since then. For example, if your friend gets a new haircut and you like it, you might say, "That new style looks really good on you." You might hear something like, "I wasn't sure about these glasses, but everyone says they look good on me." Here's another one. "I love that jacket. It looks so good on you. Where did you get it?" This compliment works for more than just clothes. You can say it about hairstyles, makeup, accessories, or even attitudes. Like, "Confidence looks good on you," or "That smile looks good on you." It's such a versatile and kind thing to say to someone. What I love about this phrase is how it can instantly brighten someone's day. Do you remember the last time someone told you something looked good on you? How did it make you feel? Let me know in the comments. Let's recap what we learned today. We covered so many useful expressions today. Let's quickly go through them one more time. We learned, "I envy you," for when you wish you had what someone else has. "I'm all ears" shows you're ready to listen carefully. "Crisis averted" is perfect for when you avoid a problem just in time. "Get in line" can mean literally joining a queue or figuratively waiting your turn like everyone else. We also covered, "I'll give it a shot" for when you're willing to try something new. "Don't rush me" helps you ask for more time when people are pressuring you. "It's written all over your face" describes when someone's expression gives away their feelings. "You can say that again" is an enthusiastic way to agree with someone. Finally, we learned, "I know how to get there" for when you're confident about directions, and looks good on you as a lovely way to compliment someone's appearance. These expressions will make your English sound so much more natural and native-like. Remember, the key is to practice using them in real situations. Try to use at least one of these phrases this week in a real conversation. If this video helped you learn something new, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Tomorrow, we'll be back with 10 more common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native speakers use every day. I'm excited to continue this English learning journey with you. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? And which one do you think you'll use first in your own conversations? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Take care and keep practicing your English. I'll see you tomorrow with more amazing expressions to add to your vocabulary. Until then, happy learning.